This is the Foundation Software webinar team here. We are going to give folks just a couple more minutes to join at the hour. And then after a couple minutes, Jim's going to go ahead and get started. Thank you so much for joining.
Thanks for joining today's webinar. Get ahead and go live in 2026 with Payroll for Construction. My name is Jim Welsh and I'm here with Payroll for Construction and Foundation Software. Well, most of you are doing your payroll in-house through Foundation Software or using a third-party provider. Today we're going to talk about how Foundation has a built-in payroll service that can help you with paying employees, garnishments, city, state, federal taxes, quarterlies, W-2s, as well as ACA filing. Now, this is a live webinar. Unfortunately, you're in listen-only mode. So if anybody has any questions, you can feel free to type those in right as I go. Some of them I may answer on the spot, but by the end of this, I'll make sure everybody's questions are answered today. You'll also receive my contact information, and you will get a link to this webinar if you'd like to share it with anybody else, or if you miss a part of this webinar today. All right, let's start with what we'll cover here today. What we'll start off is talking about our product portfolio here at Foundation, as we have many other products that may interest and help you folks out. Then we'll go over an hrHQ overview, a real high-level overview today. One, we can do live online demonstrations that get more in-depth, but for time purposes today, we'll stay pretty high level, just kind of explain some of the benefits and kind of the feature sets of hrHQ. Then we'll talk about Payroll for Construction and how that can help your business as well. And then we'll just kind of walk you through how it works. For you using Foundation right now and doing payroll in-house, there's minimal changes, but we'll go over those changes. And then we'll do a wrap-up, questions and answers. So let's just go over a brief overview of our portfolio of products. Foundation software. Everybody attending this webinar today should have Foundation software. So I'll kind of skip over that. But if anybody's attending and doesn't have it, that's our full job cost accounting project management platform. Our HQ suite consists of project management, crew scheduling management, and we also have a safety program as well. Now, Payroll for Construction, we're going to go over more in depth here in just a couple of minutes. But basically, it is a built-in payroll service where your data never leaves Foundation software, but we can help pay your employees taxes, garnishments, quarterlies, and W-2s. McCormick is an estimating platform more for electrical, mechanical, and plumbing contractors. So if you're doing your estimates manually, that'd be a good product for you to look at as it directly integrates with your current Foundation job cost accounting system. The Edge estimating. That is for roofing, fireproofing, interior walls and ceilings, and interior, exterior finishes. It is also an estimating system, but geared much more towards those contractors. So you can look at either of those products to help out with your estimating. WorkMax is our timekeeping app. That is where facial recognition, GPS location, and getting your data in real time live from the field to the office without any manual entry necessary into Foundation software. All right, let's start with the high-level intro and meeting hrHQ. It's basically a human resources management application. Okay, you can do electronic onboarding, PTO requests. It seamlessly integrates with Foundation. There's an employee side to it as well that we'll cover where employees can make changes to personnel records. You can share documents and have employees sign them. You can track certification management, performance reviews, and much more. We'll cover that here in just a couple of minutes. Payroll for construction. This is the payroll processing piece that is already built into your current Foundation software. So whether you're a contractor working in multiple cities, multiple states, it is very difficult to keep up with this stuff in the ever-changing law. So here at Payroll for Construction, without you having to rehome your payroll by going to a third party, we can help with simple things like checks and direct deposits, taxes, city, state, federal, unemployment, quarterlies, W-2s, all the things that you're about to experience as you head here into year end. Here at Payroll for Construction, we can take things like that as well as ACA off your plate moving forward in 2026 and beyond. Let's start with hrHQ and dig a little bit deeper here. So as you can see, this here, web-based, you can access it from anywhere. Employees can access this from their cell phone. You can access employee records and information from tablet, smartphone, basically any device. This is directly integrated with Foundation software. So I think it's important to mention that as you are in Foundation and you make changes to an employee's record, it will push this way as well. But you could also go into employee records digitally, electronically, and you can make edits here. Now, the main goal of HR is to put more of this on your employees, which we'll talk about in just a second when I do go over to the employee-facing side. So where I am starting here is in the admin, the HR side of things, where your administrators would live. However, rest assured that any changes your employees make will still come to you for approval. So even if it's something as minor as Donald here made a change to his address, you will be the final approver in allowing this information into Foundation software. Now, also, this is where you can hire people. So instead of collecting everything via paper, things such as their W-4, their I-9, their EEO, VEVRA, work tax credit, all these things that you may be collecting manually via paper and storing somewhere can all now be done electronically. And then you would have copies as well as the employee for their records. You would also be able to finish the onboarding process here and push that employee directly into Foundation software, which would mean it's also in Payroll for Construction. So all of these products we're discussing today seamlessly integrate with one another. So where I can also review time off requests. I can create documents that are shared with all employees or certain groups of employees. Also, certification management. In Foundation, you know as well as I do that you can track these certifications, but you will rely on reporting that you run at your own time to figure out when these certifications are going to expire. In here, now what we can do is we can set expirations. We can set notifications to alert employees, project managers via text message or email. And then you can also do performance reviews. Now, for certain employees, that may not make sense. The beauty of hrHQ is we can turn certain things on and off for certain groups of employees. So if it doesn't make sense, when the employee goes to their side of the fence, we could have that turned off. Same with if we have union folks where maybe their time off is through the union. So we can really not just make this work per company, but per individual user. Then you can also post messages to groups of employees, individual employees, and then there are some reports in here as well that you can run. But again, the nice thing with certification management is it will alert the folks that you want it to alert when you want it to alert them. So this is kind of a high-level overview of your side of the fence as an administrator. Now, as an admin, you can flip between your portfolio, your paychecks, your W-2s, or the admin side. Now, your regular field employees would never be able to switch to the admin side. This is alerting them that they have documentation you've provided that they need to verify and sign. So this is where they could come in here, select, review that document, and they could sign off on that. This is also where they would be going to, see, it's going to keep poking them until they take action. But this is where they can go find basic information. This is where, again, if they want to change some of this stuff, they can edit it. Now, things like their employment status. Their rate of pay, of course, they could not change or edit that. So we're only allowing them to make the changes that you want them to and the things that make sense. Like maybe I want them to update their direct deposit. They can even upload a voided check, copy of bank routing information so that you can ensure that change is correct. Once you approve it, it will update them right in Foundation software. This is where benefits deductions, the only benefit they can change is an elective 401k. But this is where they could see all their benefits and deductions. This is where they can also submit PTO requests, see pay history, see W-2s. Instead of mailing out paper checks or paper copies of their direct deposit, they can simply retrieve this week's pay or pay from 2 months, 2 years ago. This connects all of your current data in Foundation to hrHQ with our technical team. This is where they can also upload you documents. So if they were getting married or something and you needed a copy of that marriage certificate in order to change their health plan, they could provide this without having to come to the office or without you having to go to them to retrieve this information. This is where if they have certifications, they would be tracking. If they don't, or if there's a group of employees you don't need to track that, again, we can turn that piece off. Same with performance reviews. In Bulletin Board, this is where they can go retrieve current messages, old messages, anything that you want them to. Again, some of these could be company unique, others may be individually unique to that employee, where they could just see them and not every other employee. So again, we offer live demonstrations on this. This does work with Payroll for Construction and Foundation, or if just this interests you and not the payroll service that we'll touch on in just a second, this can work with your current Foundation without the service. So again, everybody will be provided my contact information at the end of this. So if anybody wants to dig deeper into this, please feel free to reach out. We'd be happy to help. Okay, now we're back to a very familiar environment for most of you. This is where you're currently probably processing your payroll. Payroll is the engine of Foundation software and just about any accounting system out there. So really with Payroll for Construction, this really is an easy transition. Okay, I'm going to talk what changes and what doesn't change because again, we are doing everything in Foundation. So whether you are entering your time or whether you are using our WorkMax app or Foundation Mobile to push your hours into Foundation, nothing is breaking there. That process still happens the exact same way it does today. Now you can still look at your proofing reports. You can still compute and pre-process your payroll and look at your registers. But instead of you having to post the payroll, you're just going to submit it to us. So we will connect this to our back-end processing system. So when you think, how much of a change, how much time is this going to take? Not much at all, because your data already lives and exists in Foundation. So I break payroll into 3 sections, a beginning, middle, and end. So the beginning, as we just talked, does not change whatsoever. The middle piece is what changes, where when you click submit payroll, we will be the ones to pay your employees via check or direct deposit, pay your garnishments, pay your city, state, federal taxes, do your quarterlies, your W-2s, ACA, all without you having any additional keystrokes. And the most important part, why most of you folks went to a Foundation software, is for the reporting, the job costing, the billing. Payroll ties to everything in Foundation. Again, it is the engine of Foundation. So to be able to outsource payroll but lose all of that makes it really tough to decide to outsource payroll. With Payroll for Construction, you don't have to have that trade-off. You can keep your certified, your job reporting, your union reporting. It does not change whatsoever. So a payroll you did today in-house and the reporting you retrieved after that, that would flow the same way. It would look the same way if you did it with us. So in short, Payroll for Construction can take that middle piece of payroll off your plate with absolutely zero additional effort or time spent on your end. Thanks for listening, everybody. We've got time for some questions now. You can go ahead and type those into your GoToWebinar chat bar, and I'll answer the questions as they come in. Okay, looks like a couple of questions have come over. I'll answer them, and then if anyone else wants to type in questions, they can. Somebody's asking on costing. Send me an email. Let me know what you're interested in. The payroll service will vary based on your pay frequency, number of employees being paid, and stuff like that. So we are very transparent with pricing, but that way I send you the right pricing and accurate quote. You can email me after this if you want to connect to dig deeper, or if you want just a quote for one or the other. Another question is, do you have to use both? That's a great question. No, the beauty is if HR interested you more today, we can dig deeper on that. We can connect that to Foundation. You could continue paying your employees, in-house, paying your taxes in-house, or the same goes for if you're not ready for HR, but you're looking for somebody to help. with paying employees and taxes in-house, you can do them separately. Can you run a payroll correction batch in the same week? Yes, absolutely. So that's kind of the beauty of this is, listen, some of these other payroll providers want to try to push you so far away from your payroll where it's a hear no, see no, do no payroll situation. As much as I wish I had a solution like that for you, it's your payroll. You know your employees, what jobs and cost codes more so than we would. But again, there can be mistakes. We can help. You make a correction, we can help facilitate additional pay to an employee or to a taxing authority, or to second that. A lot of times I get the question, what about termination, layoff, payoff checks? You can go basically and do that and still produce a paycheck or direct deposit on your end to make it happen in real time. You would not be charged another additional base processing fee there. So the things we want to handle 95% of your payroll, but things like corrections or bonus, you can still do those things and create a check in-house or a payment in-house, but we would be responsible for all taxes, which is the nice thing. Since everything is being recorded in Foundation, that means it's being recorded in Payroll for Construction. So there is not this bouncing back and forth between your core accounting system and some outside third-party provider. So when people use a payroll service, it's commonly referred to as outsourcing. For people on Foundation, the nice thing is we kind of call it insourcing, where we're still handling garnishments, checks, direct deposits, taxes, ACA and W-2s, but at the end of the day, it's still your data, it's still on your end. Somebody's asking about being able to do HSA and 401k. It's not. I haven't heard much about it. We did pull out of our clients, and that came up there. I haven't heard a specific, hey, this is coming very near future. So I don't have a ton there for you. Somebody's saying we currently use WorkMax and create a CSV file into our. Let me see if there's more to this. Is the process the same? Okay, so somebody's saying we currently use WorkMax, create the CSV file, and push it into Foundation. Is the process the same for payroll for construction? Yes. Meaning, I always say there's a beginning, middle, and end of payroll. The best part of this is your beginning does not change. So how you were getting that time to Foundation does not change. The middle is what changes, us paying employees, us paying garnishments, taxes, quarterlies, W-2s. And then basically the end doesn't change either. So union, certified, job costing, feeding into your billing, T&M and stuff like that, we absolutely do not change whatsoever. So we don't make it better. We do not make that worse. We keep that the same. Okay, so somebody's saying that they're having issues. They use ADP. They're having lots of issues. And kind of how does the product get us in a better place for payroll? I'd love to answer it. I need to talk to you more. So for that person, shoot me an email. We can connect. I would need to ask you a series of questions of what's going on. And then I'd put you in a good place to be able to show you how I think we can help. But we've done this many times, and we usually can help and make things a lot better than with your traditional providers. But I would want to make that a unique conversation between you and myself so that I didn't, over understate anything. So again, feel free to just even shoot me an email, and then basically we can connect. Okay. Somebody says pretty quick, brief webinar. Yes. Again, this is meant high level. Email me. We can set something up to more cover this specific to you and your needs. Actually, that's the same person. So great. We can connect and then go from there. Are the physical checks delivered by a next day service? Yes, we can do that. Again, we can be a hybrid solution here. I can absolutely overnight you the checks. For some of my clients, they're so used to being able to have them as soon as that payroll posts in Foundation, and they're in a hurry to really get those out to the field. Well, I could say, if you wanted to do the paychecks in-house, you could. I would still handle all the direct deposits, garnishments, city, state, federal taxes. So again, that could be a different look for company A versus B, but we can accommodate many things there to give you the best overall solution. All right. It doesn't look like any more questions are coming in. But again, if you folks disconnect, there's all my info. Email me. Sometimes it's a straightforward yes or no answer. Other times it's like a couple of these questions today. Hey, let's connect. Let's see what issues you're having. Let me show you how we can help on our side. But identify your issues first. Then I can kind of work you through how that would look, work, and feel on our side of the fence and let you be the judge if that's a better solution for you. Again, most of the time it is, but we always want you folks to be the judge of that. That's why I'm always willing to spend one-on-one time that is more catered to you, your needs, your business, and we can go for as long as you need to see if this makes sense. So thank you, everybody, again, and hope to hear from some of you soon.